Hey, hey, hey. Breadwinner bass. Nice. Right on. Good to hear it. Yeah, it's a really cute little tone, for sure. Close enough to like all the action, but far enough to feel like it's not. What am I on? Everything. Alrighty. Welcome in, everyone. Just as we've been doing, I'm on here today to answer some questions about AI art, AI video, Comfy UI, the tools that I use, and kind of help you in whatever way I can to get started if you're interested in stuff like this. And today, as far as the subject matter, I'm going to be animating some... I want to go for something like this, something very otherworldly, alien, unusual, strange, weird. Maybe not so gory as my recent creations, more so just, yeah, psychedelic and weird. So I'm going to start my journey with Midjourney. That was too easy. And we're going to start iterating on something weird. I've already started, as you can see. Some interesting blue and purple alien things. Let's center it a bit because I think the stream cuts off the sides of the browser a bit. But let's go ahead and start prompting, and then we'll get to the animation shortly. Any creature, yes. Virtually anything you can imagine, as long as there's an image for it or a way to describe it with text. Comfy will take multiple different kinds of inputs. And the kind I like to use are image-based, but you can prompt your videos with just text as well if you want. Custom French Bulldog art, right on. Hit me up in the DM if you want to talk about that a little more. That sounds like a fun project. Let us begin. I'm going to imagine strange, alien, otherworldly, unusual. Let's also add in grotesque, just to see what happens. Give it a little flavor. And of course weird. And then I'm going to add the weird parameter, which in Midjourney, if you're not familiar with, is a parameter that basically makes your image as weird as you want it to be. And it goes all the way up to, I think, a scale of 3,000. You can go from like 1 up to 3,000. Anything beyond 1,000, I think, starts to get maybe a bit too weird, a bit too abstract. But I'm just going to start with 3,000 because, like, we may as well start big and shrink as opposed to... Do I pay for Midjourney? Yes, I do. I forget how much I'm paying at this point. I should probably know all of my expenses, but I think it's somewhere between 10 and 20 bucks per month. It's not the worst thing in the world, and it's super worth it, in my opinion. I also make images just with plain Stable Diffusion locally, and I will open up a workflow that does that as well. We can kind of bounce between that and Midjourney, maybe for reference, but I mostly prefer Midjourney for my image creation. Oh, here we go. Here's my my workflow for Stable Diffusion images. Accessible via Discord, correct. Midjourney is primarily interfaced through Discord. They have in recent weeks finally rolled out their web interface to prompt images straight on their website. I don't prefer to do it here. I also haven't played with it much here, so I don't know if it's better or worse. I'm just used to Discord at this point, and so that's where I remain. Mobile screen can't see. I will try and focus the stuff as best as I can on this limited real estate here. But as I'm starting to create the videos, I will zoom in, and you'll get a much better picture of what I'm creating. Let us go ahead. This is a pretty weird and abstract one. Well, okay, before we do that, this is the result of what I just created. And also you'll find as you're cranking up the weird parameter is that it gets a little blurrier than its typical results. Probably because it reaches a point where it just gets confused about what you want. So it starts to really fall apart, I would assume. But I'm not a huge fan of really any of these, which again can probably be blamed on the high weird value that I've used. But I'm actually just going to keep sticking with these blue and purple guys right here because they're already created, they're already cool looking, and I want to start animating while we have the time. So I'm going to bring up one of my favorite animation workflows, and I'll look back and forth to see your questions periodically. Let me just get this going. I think I would like... I have so many workflows saved to my device, I kind of lose track of which one I want to jump back into for new stuff. I have a lot of favorites in a folder I'll use, but right now I want to go back to yesterday's. So this is what I was working on yesterday, and if you've tuned in previous days to my stream, you'll notice the 4 image sequence. It's basically a morphing workflow, morphs between 4 images. Third image is trippy. Yes. Oh, on the newest ones? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that fourth one is actually, the third one's actually pretty realistic looking. Kind of creepy, isn't it? That's weird. Very cool, though. Alright, let's hop back over. And, yeah, as you can see, I've already pasted some of the blue guys into this flow. I'm actually going to stick with what's already there. I'm not too thrilled with the results I got yesterday, though. This isn't, like, the greatest looking thing I've ever seen. So I'm going to play with the actual settings to make something cooler. I'm going to start by shifting my model over to my favorite one of the moment, which is called Realism by Stable Yogi. Models are also known as checkpoints, which is typically the very first step in any workflow on Comfy is to load in a model, the model that you'd like to use. And from there, it branches out into wherever else it needs to go. And it just is like a really quick glimpse into the process. Starts with the model, goes from there. What software I'm using? Comfy UI. Comfy UI. So what I'm going to do also, I'm going to change up the video input, the control net right here, as you can see with the circles. What this is doing, if you can surmise from the results over here, is it's basically reading the contours of this video, like the lines, the depth, depending on how you want to attack it. It grabs that information and it basically mashes it together with your images. And the result is kind of a combination. So the idea is like circle plus images. But I'm not going to use the circle today. I'm going to use something else. Which one? This has been a favorite of mine lately. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really cool. Check it out. It's really sick. And I actually want a lot of that to bleed through. I want a lot of the detail here to bleed through my result. And to do that, I'm first going to select the line art control net. A control net is basically the model that will analyze your video for you, and based on the model you choose, it will emphasize different features of it. Line art, for example, will extract the line edges of whatever you're looking at. There's also a depth map control net, which will extract the depth essentially, and results can vary depending on the type of video you're using, so definitely play around with it. Will you manage this? Remember? Well, thank you, Reels. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of tough parts, especially when you're first picking this up. There's a lot I still don't understand about it, frankly. This program is very complex. The relationship between every node and what every node even does, I'm still not fully versed on, but I certainly know enough by now to get going and to make some cool shit. But honestly, I just keep getting better at it every day, and that's the result of, you know, practice and persistence. All right, so I'm going to crank the strength of our control net up to about 0.8, which is really going to let those details bleed through really nicely. So let's give it a shot. Cue prompt. Get it going. Actually, before I move with that, I'd like to change the resolution because as you notice, it's a portrait, which is great for posting to social, but it's not so great for this stream. Sounding robotic. Thank you. I do my best to sound like a robot. That's what I do. Yes, I am part cyborg for sure. How much time did you take to learn all this stuff? I really started taking it seriously back in February or March of this year. And honestly, I haven't like really taken a day off since because I've just been so obsessed with it. But yeah, sometime back in February or March is when I really started diving deep. And for months before that, I had really wanted to get into it, but I was intimidated, man. This shit is like not accessible. Like it's not like one of those easy to learn, hard to master types of things. It's hard to learn, hard to master. But in that pursuit, you produce some truly unique and beautiful things. And that's what I was after. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, 6 months, give or take. Where was I? I'm going to set the resolution so that it isn't portrait mode because it'll be easier for you guys to see it. Actually, I'll make it square, 1-to-1 ratio, because it looks like the screen view here is a square, and that will help everyone. So let's do that. 560 by 560 is kind of the upper end of the resolution you want to set here in Comfy, and if you want to upscale it further from there, you do so at a later stage. But the initial generations, you really don't want to go too high with your resolution. I find 560 is kind of a sweet spot. You really don't want to go beyond like 768, 800, even 900 sometimes can work. But also once you start going past 500 or 600, it starts to have issues with like faces and features. Like you'll start getting duplicate faces, like one stacked on the other, and it won't really understand that you only want one person in the frame, for example. So the lower frame rate you set here, the more likely it will be to give you a clean, stable result. I'm using Comfy UI, Ace Jules, Comfy UI. It's spelled right here on this node. Ignore the essentials part, that's just the node pack I have installed. But Comfy UI right here, that is the name of the software. As you can see, we're already starting to get something here. You can't pull out too much detail from it yet, but in about 1 minute from now, you're gonna get to see the result. Overthinker, I'm doing good, how are you? You're welcome. Joseph Newell, work in light design, dance music industry. Yeah, absolutely. I've worked with some DJs by now, and it's really fun work. Really, some of them have been really fun, actually. I've done music videos and social media posts and all kinds of different use cases. The one I typically like to offer the most are these, honestly, these looper videos. The 4 to 10 second range for like a solid looping video is really my bread and butter. I have taken on longer projects though, for like 3 to 4 minute music videos, stuff like that. But I would say my favorite thing to make are these because they're just like, they're basically moving images in a sense with a lot of personality. All right, ladies and gents, look at what we, ooh, okay, yeah, this is already so much sicker. So this is the before, which is fine. It's nothing spectacular, but look at what we just made, you guys. This is really sick. I think it's really sick. Let me see if it shows up well on stream here. Yeah, pretty dope. Pretty dope. Let me interpolate it. What interpolation means is basically jacking the frame rate up from where it originally is at. Right now it is at 12 frames a second, as you can see, and I want to multiply that by 5 so that we get a 60 frame variant out of the boy. Let's do that right now. So the node, the second to last node that is like in the order of operations, the one that comes right before the final step where it kind of combines your frames here. This second to last node is still housing the frames that I just made. And so because of that, I'm going to use its output and drag that into my interpolation family over here, which is kind of a set of 3 nodes that I like to use. And by dragging that over onto here, and then by outputting that into its own video combine node, it will continue, it'll branch off into a different sequence. This time it will take the existing frames, multiply them by 5. By doing so, you're going to get a much smoother, higher frame rate result. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. And let's see what it looks like. All right. And normally multiplying your frames by 5 is a pretty taxing operation on the system, a little more time consuming, especially if you don't have the best hardware. But because the resolution we're working with is so like tiny, 512 by 512, actually 560, because it's a pretty reasonable resolution, this should not take that long, to be honest. Whoops, let me disable this family here. Give that a go. Okay. Yeah, video course is definitely something that is bubbling around in my head. I'd like to put something out. I'm just trying to figure out how to approach it, whether it'll be put on my Patreon or sold as a separate type of course. It would be my first course anyways, so there's a lot I would have to figure out. Yeah, just the whole strategy around that. If anyone has any, advice about course making, honestly, I'd love to chat. T. Middleton, thank you so much. Hello, I can smell the stash. Nice. I hope it smells good. Okay, and as you can see, based on the green border, as you might have guessed by now, represents whichever node is actively being worked on. And that's how you can kind of follow the process of stuff that's going on. So this is really cool. I just interpolated the video. Now it's 60 frames. And as you can plainly see, it's much nicer to look at than our previous generation. Here's a before and after. Let's sync it up. So left is before, right is after. And I don't know how well that's coming through on stream, but the higher frame rate really makes a difference, you guys. Really makes a difference. Romeo, hello, how are you? My background is actually in graphic design and web development. I've always kind of been an artist. I've always dabbled in drawn stuff and made stuff on the computer, digital art and stuff. But professionally, I've just kind of been in the graphic design marketing realm, doing websites for various kinds of companies. But in the last few years, I really got taken by this AI stuff, the AI images, the AI video. It started with Midjourney. Midjourney is the thing that really was the gateway drug, so to speak. And from there, it's just been history. Sohail, you are so welcome. I'm so happy that you're finding value from my work. My country, I'm from the United States. Advice I can give to folks who'd like to learn to create AI, I would say first decide what exactly you want to make with it, what your specialty is. If you're a musician, if you're a hand-drawn artist, digital, what do you want to create? Would you like to stick with static images? Do you want to do the video route? I can inform you on where to start with the video stuff, since that's my focus these days. There's some really good tutorials on getting started with Comfy, some good channels out there. And kind of in the absence of my own course at the moment, I have been directing people to my favorite YouTuber, who's someone that goes by the name of Purz, P-U-R-Z. And I've just brought him up here on screen. Hopefully you can see it. It's at Purz Beats, Purz with a Z. And he does really solid work. He's very easy to follow and easy to listen to, and just very thorough in the information he conveys. Can be a bit much to look at first, because a lot of his streams are multiple hours long, but I always like to start people on this one right here. which is one of his beginner courses. And here's the name. Actually, that's the second one. So if you're wondering where to begin, I would highly recommend starting with a video like this. Creative exploration, beginner first steps, comfy UI installation setup. Kind of just search for these keywords when you're looking up PERS on YouTube, and you should find this. Wish I could paste a link in chat, but I can't seem to. Yes, I love PERS as well. Glad that you agree. Am I behind? No, I'm not. Oh, you're American. Good. Pointed me. Country. DTS, thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. Aw, thank you so much. Yeah, I try, you know. A lot of my work comes from very strange parts of the brain. I guess you could call that imagination. The deep corners of my imagination. I just really like making this kind of stuff, you know. It feels really good. So that's why I do it. The channel name, yes. Channel name is at PERS Beats. I will write that down in a notepad for you right here. PERS Beats. There you go, folks. When you're searching in the YouTube search, you don't have to do @ at's just his username handle thing. But yeah, type PERS Beats up in the search, and the first result should be him. And yeah, there you go. Art Soap trips me out. Nice, that is the idea. Yes, the channel name, sorry. The channel name is PERS, but his actual username is PERS Beats. But whichever one you search, you'll get to him regardless, so. Okay, let us resume what we were doing. Let's have a little more fun, shall we? Georgia, yeah, Midjourney is certainly the place to start. Because as you have seen, I still heavily rely on it, even with my newer animation stuff. I still maintain that Midjourney makes like the most artistically beautiful results of all of the AIs. I find that different AI image models do things better than the others. Like if you're really into text logo creation, like doing accurate logos and whatnot, Ideogram.ai, as you can see, is a very good one. Like I'll just make an example. Text logo of, and then in apostrophes, quotations, sorry. I don't know, text logo of just my name, Bennett. So text logo of Bennett, tag typography in the tags, and let it rip. It's also pretty quick. This one is also quicker than Midjourney, in my opinion. But check this out, this is pretty sick. I don't think Midjourney, I mean, it can do text to a degree. Let's give it a shot real quick to compare. I'm kind of curious. So same prompt, but for Midjourney. And as you can see here on Ideogram, I mean, these are some pretty sick logos with little to no creative direction. Just asking it to make a logo based on my name. And already these are pretty sick. Like, I could see myself using something like that for something. Yeah, pretty cool. So it really depends like which, what your purpose is. Like, what do you want to make? As far as images, as far as video. Doesn't do text very well. Yeah, although I will compliment it here. These are quite nice. I don't normally get such good results. So this is Midjourney here. And 3 out of the 4 looks like they nailed it. Obviously the one in the corner is a little weird, but these are pretty sick, you guys. I love the graffiti. That one is really cool. But yeah, it's all a matter of just playing with it and seeing what does what. Model that I use, LoRa, is not in this particular workflow that I'm focused on. The 4-way morph workflow. It does include a LoRa, but it's more, I think, for maintaining like the structural integrity of the results. It's not so much for like styling it. But typically in my workflows, I don't really use LoRa's. I kind of just let the images do all the talking. If I'm going for a certain style, I will establish that in Midjourney before ever bringing it over to Comfy. If that makes sense. 1080 Ti can handle some high frame rate Comfy. I would say that it depends. The card is slightly dated in the Comfy world. It's a decent enough card for gaming. If I recall, my old work PC had a 1080 Ti, and I think I started dabbling in Comfy on there. I will tell you, like, the resolutions that I achieve and the high frame rates and whatnot would A, break the computer, or B, take like insanely long to render on a 1080 Ti. But that isn't to say you couldn't make something on there, or at the very least use it as a learning environment to make some pretty crude generations, maybe a lower frame rate resolution. I would try it either way. I'm almost certain that it supports that card. It's just not going to be as fast. Either way, quick, nice logos. Agreed. Yeah. I mean, rest in peace, logo designers. I guess like this space is evolving very quickly. It's a very destabilizing time for a graphic designer. That is for certain. And coming from a graphic designer directly, you can take my word for that. Can I take all the lures and save sensors from my Stable Diffusion over to Comfy? Absolutely. I would say the answer is yes, and the reason it's yes is because I'm using Stable Diffusion inside of Comfy. Like this is all Stable Diffusion already. The way that I'm achieving animation, though, is because I've extended the functionality of Stable Diffusion with something called Animate Diff, and it's a Stable Diffusion based model, but as the name suggests, it animates the images. It makes multiple images and intelligently gives motion to them within a context. My hardware is a 4090 NVIDIA, 64 gigs of memory, I want to say, and a Core i9 for the processor, and a few terabytes of storage. Let's have a little more fun, shall we? I really am liking the images that we're playing with here. I think there's a lot of potential. And you know what I'm gonna do just for fun? I'm gonna save our low frame rate generation, this guy that we made right here, without interpolating the results. I just want to take this raw video and I want to paste it into another workflow that I have that specializes in upskilling. I have a number of different workflows for a number of different use cases. But let's try and throw that into here real quick and see what it looks. I mean, this doesn't usually take that long, maybe 4 or 5 minutes at the most, and you're gonna get a real quick idea of what some of these upscalers are capable of. It's a lot of fun to see in real time. So you're about to find out. I am a potato. Nice. I am also a potato. It's nice to meet you. Checkpoint do I use? I'm using Realism by Stable Yogi. I use a lot of different checkpoints, but kind of just rotate between them for experimentation. But as of late, the one that I've been enjoying the very most is called Realism by Stable Yogi. Realism. This one right here. Let's be a little careful so I don't accidentally show something not safe for work on stream, because Civitai, if you're familiar at all, is it contains a lot of not safe for work stuff, but it's also the biggest hub for obtaining models. Any of the models that you see that I'm using pretty much can be found here, and this is the one that I like the most at the moment, so I would highly encourage you to check that out. Kalina, hello, how are you? Dude, your work is crazy, fucking love it. Dude, thank you so much, I really appreciate the kind words. So just to fill you guys in, we are waiting right now on an upscale of our blue alien friend here. Shouldn't take more than 4 minutes, 5 at the most, just because it's a pretty modest resolution. Think we should be safe. But typically you can expect this particular upscale node, Ultimate SD Upscale, highly recommended by the way, will typically be a little longer on the render side of things. So I would get very patient if you're gonna be putting results through this workflow or this node. The node is separate from the workflow. Like, you don't need this workflow per se to access this node. Like, you could probably just paste this node directly into your existing workflow, but the way this particular workflow is arranged, it kind of brings in some extra features to assist. Am I streaming on another platform? Yes, I believe I'm simulcasting on YouTube and Twitch, although they're both going to be in portrait mode as well as here. I can only do one orientation per stream. Like, in other words, I can't do portrait for Instagram, but also landscape for Twitch. But that's just because of the software that I'm using, Restream. If something like that is possible in like OBS, I'd love if one of you guys could tell me about it, because I'm kind of new to all this streaming stuff. And yeah. The name of this workflow, it doesn't. Well, I would start more so by searching for the ultimate. If you go to Banadoko on Discord, the Banadoko is basically like a really big Stable Diffusion anime diff community. If you start to search around in here for Ultimate SD Upscale, you should find the workflow or one to get started with, which contains that node. I am struggling at the moment to remember which thread I found it in. It's been so long now, but this is the actual Discord channel where I found it. It's Banadoko. And if you follow Per's work at all or watch him or anything like that, he's constantly referring to Banadoko, so I'd encourage you to check it out. Okay, perfect. Yes, so as you can see, we're already pretty much halfway through the upscale, maybe a little bit more. This little preview kind of shows where it goes left to right horizontally from like top to bottom. It kind of goes in tiles as it's upscaling. And as you can tell, side by side, the one on the right is our actual video. It's pretty much almost there, actually. I would say just give it like 30 more seconds. You are welcome, absolutely. Yeah, if I can help guide you any better with that, I'll try and track it down again afterwards. But that would be the Discord channel to find it in. There might even be a later version, which I'm not privy to, and if that's the case, then I really want to play with it. The upscaler, that is. Okay. I want to see how this looks on YouTube, because I actually started streaming to YouTube. I guess, okay, here I am. Nice. I actually haven't seen... This is my YouTube channel, by the way. It's under a different name. It's not my name. It's AI is Cursed, and I would love it if you guys would check it out. It's a fairly new channel. Not a lot of growth here yet, but I upload things like horror stories, long format, like, yeah, horror stories narrated and everything like that with creepy visuals. I just have a lot of fun with some stuff on this page that you won't find on my Instagram, so I would encourage you to check it out. And without further ado, it looks like our upscale is complete. So I'm going to resume both, sync both, and I'm, yeah, pretty happy with what I see, you guys. I don't know how clearly it's going to come through on your end, but left is before, right is after. You can definitely see some difference. I can certainly see the difference, but the stream might not capture that. It's really cool though. And what's cool about this workflow is you can take your upscaled video and pass it through again to extract even more detail out of it. You got to be a little careful with that though, because the upscaler can start getting confused and over upscaling areas that don't need to be upscaled. Like, I think the most unfortunate part about this workflow I have found is that if you're putting a video through it which has a blurry background, like a deliberately blurry background because it has a nice effect, this upscaler doesn't really account for blurry backgrounds. It will attempt to, a lot of the time, it'll attempt to over sharpen those blurry backgrounds, and then you won't have a blurry background anymore, and it just looks weird and overly psychedelic, even for me. So you do have to be a little careful and play around with this I keep referring to it as a workflow. I should refer to it as a node, because it's really just the node this is built around. It was, yes, correct. IPIV's, or at least a workflow based on his workflow. I've kind of since expanded it functionally, but that is definitely the workflow it is based off of. IPIV from Civitai. Yep, see, as you can see, it's the 4-way morph. And let's hop back over. And I also went ahead and interpolated that upscale. And now, I mean, look at that, you guys. That's sick. Very, very cool. Because it's a square, this could be used for something like a profile picture, like a you know, some of these platforms allow you to use a GIF for profiles. This would make a really sick profile picture, profile GIF. In fact, I think I'm going to save it. Try and do just that. Alex, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, so really sick stuff, you guys. Here's kind of the three-way before, during, and after. On the left here, you got the crude initial generation. In the middle here, you got the upscaled, still low frame rate generation. And then finally, you get the beautiful interpolated upscale. So it's all a process, you know? All a process. Let's see where we are at. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to be going for just a little over 20 more minutes. I'd say I'll probably take it until 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Pacific. I will be streaming until. Not better results, just different results. I still use Topaz to polish off my work, basically in the final stage. Like after I've done everything I want to do in Comfy, Topaz is pretty much my final. Like I like to upscale things multiple passes, you know. Like I like to start with the workflow you just saw, and then with that guy, I will drop it into Topaz and try and upscale it a little further. Because Topaz doesn't so much hallucinate new details as creatively as Comfy does. It's I find way better at just like taking somewhat crisp images and making them even more crisp in the video, versus just like straight up hallucinating new details. And what's great about this workflow is it will straight up hallucinate new details, which is honestly great with what I do, because I make very trippy abstract work. And when it's abstract, it doesn't really matter what it hallucinates. It just lends itself to the final works. Matt, thank you so much. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. I really do what I can. I'm really obsessed with this page and trying to grow it and making it the best that it can be. Okay, let us take a look now. Let's play with some variety here with the images. I think we can retire our blue alien friends for now. Paste them down here. Ooh, you know what I was playing with a few nights ago, which I'm going to be posting shortly, is something to do with black and white drawings. I think that's pretty fun territory that I'm going to explore more. But let's play around with this, shall we? I'm going to plug these into our IP adapter. And if you don't know what an IP adapter is, it's basically the part of the workflow in Animate TIFF that reads your images and makes prompts out of them, essentially. It's your alternative to prompting with text. If you don't want to prompt with text, well, you still can. You can do both if you want. But if you just want to use images, that's where the IP adapter comes in to the workflow, into the mix. Dom Newton, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's weird stuff, isn't it? Some wild stuff that goes on this page. Let's okay, let's give this a quick try. Actually, let's play with some different drawings. There's something I'd rather... you know what? I'll actually stick with it. So these four drawings are going to be our morph. This is going to be our motion mask, upon which it will be painted, in a sense. And let's give it a shot. Let's see just kind of what happens here. Where is my video combined? Here it is. All right. Actually, I'm going to crank up the weight on this video even higher because I really want those moving bubble things. I want them to really come through hard on this generation. So let's give a lot of emphasis there. Let it rip, see what happens. Possibly. I have done specific faces for clients in the past, Crisp. So it's a possibility. Faces are a bit trickier of a territory just due to the I don't know how you describe it, the unpredictable nature of AI. It isn't always perfect at capturing the really fine intricacies of your image. But I do have ways around that. I have some specialized workflows. So if you want, just drop me a DM in my Instagram messages and we can talk about it more from there. But yeah, let's explore like the actual scope of what you're thinking and I'll let you know. OORTL8. I'm sorry, but I do not speak that language. I only speak English. Where you get this? Oh, the black and white morph figures. Oh, do you mean the video? I forget where I found this. All the video references I use are kind of a collection of either things I've found online or things I've whipped together in other programs and basically use as depth maps. I can't remember where I obtained this specific one. I might have found it online at some point and thought it was really cool, so decided to start painting over it as like a depth map type of thing because it's already black and white. Yes. No, they don't have to be straight up black and white. That's the beauty of control nets. It can still extract the information it needs as far as like the contours, and it doesn't need to be in black and white. It helps that if it's in black and white. I find that it helps a little bit with the generations. But any tutorials? Not at the moment, but thank you. It's something that I am considering putting out at some point soon. I would like to get into the whole tutorial space, I guess, maybe put out a course, but at the moment I do not. I am just kind of directing traffic over to somebody I really like who goes by the name of Purz, and this is his channel right here. Just search for PURZ on YouTube, and highly recommended. He gives very thorough streams on the subject matter. 2 days in a row, yes. I'm committed to doing this 5 days a week. I would really like to do it Monday through Friday around this time. You're welcome, Bern. Yeah, for sure. Where were we? Whew, wow, okay, that is weird. Super abstract. You can briefly see the woman's face kind of come through because one of the drawings is of a woman's face. But then it just like melts into total obscurity. It's super interesting, isn't it? I'm sorry, my friend. Still, I don't speak the language that you're typing, so I'm afraid I can't interact with you. Okay. I'm going to bring the weight down on this so that we can allow the images to shine through a little brighter. Let's run this again, same settings, everything's the same except I have adjusted the weights. Let's see what happens. Any LoRa's? Dropping in any LoRa's for this particular workflow? No. I am using the ones that came with the IPIV workflow. I haven't really touched those a whole lot in this one. It looks like it uses V3SD15 adapter. I think it's more for like the structural, preserving the structure of the result versus like actually styling it. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think this is your typical LoRa. Yeah, I love to use Tipper's music in my stuff. All right. One second, guys. Am I still live? Am I still here? Sorry about that. I don't know how to moderate my chat. Does Instagram allow moderation? I don't. If anyone knows anything about moderating Instagrams, I'm sorry, my friend. I don't know what you're saying. You'll have to speak in English if you want to talk with me. All right. So already this is a lot cooler. I've lowered the weights, and a lot of the detail comes through because of that. Anywho, let's change up the music a bit. Ooh, that was interesting. All right, so sorry guys, I got a little distracted. Vasquez Tony, hello. Hello, how are you? Let's see. Checkpoint that I'm using is called Realism by Stable Yogi. Realism by Stable Yogi. Trying to think of where to go from here, folks. Let's play with this guy, this weird abstract alien we made earlier on today. And I'm going to do something that I did yesterday, which is to basically paste the same image into all 4 of the IP adapters, which are normally, you know, that your keyframes in a sense. You morph between one and through to the others, but in this case, I'm just going to morph between the same one all 4 times and see what results. Sometimes it can be very interesting. So we're going to bump that weight up a bit on the control net here. Con, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, name of software is called Comfy UI, Vasquez. Comfy UI. Does Instagram pay for number of eyes on your content? Instagram is not very good at paying out on like views on videos, unfortunately. It's something that I'm still kind of struggling to resolve and monetize correctly. Luckily, I do still get a lot of like commission work because of my reach, and I talk with a lot of clients through Instagram. But as far as like actually monetizing the reels, I would love to, but it doesn't seem that viable at the moment. Oh, thank you for the translation. I appreciate that. Loves me. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. What I'm doing right now is I'm making AI videos using a program called Comfy UI, and I hope you understood that. But I appreciate the kind words. Leopard, love your work. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Let's let it rip, you guys. I didn't queue it up. Let's queue it up. And what we're going to see in a moment is we're going to see this weirdo get all even weirder. The best way to enjoy my work is on Instagram, honestly. This is probably where you can find the highest resolution versions of what I make. You can also find me on TikTok, YouTube, and I post pretty much all of the same shorts over there, but Instagram is definitely where I am the most active. Threads as well. I would encourage you to check out my Threads page, but Instagram is where it's at. Can you go over each node in your workflow? I can start to. I can give you kind of a little high-level sort of overview. I won't, at the moment, like dive into every single node in detail, but I can kind of point you, like, for, as I was saying earlier, the checkpoint is kind of the starting point of the workflow, and it's where you load in the model that you would like to use. The model basically dictates the style of your end result. It's basically a huge database of like referential material which helps to style the work. And I'm using a a model that happens to be really good at realism, and I like realistic stuff. So that's what I'm using. From there, you use, so there's the inputs of the node and the outputs. This one doesn't have any inputs because, like I said, it's the very first one in your workflow. But the output, one of the things is clip, and clip is basically, this goes out to your positive and negative prompts. So you kind of drag it, and you gotta bear with me. This is like all very new to me. I haven't really gone into deep detail on this yet. So, as you can see in the negative, if you're wondering what you're looking at with the text there, it's a little sus. This is the negative prompt, as the title suggests. This is stuff I don't want to be in the generation for obvious reasons on stream. Can I do existing logos? I can, yes. I do have workflows that are good for that in particular, for animating logos and stuff. Do I do other stuff? If not, yeah. Well, mainly the client work is really my biggest source right now of that whole piece of it. But I am trying to grow quicker on YouTube. I don't have nearly as big of a following there as I do here. But once that starts to grow a bit, I think the monetization opportunities will be a lot better than on Instagram. I hear that YouTube pays out a lot better than almost any other platform. Oh, like your logo. It's a cool looking logo. I could probably, yeah, I don't know about the, well, yeah, I could do the text too. It's something we'd have to discuss. I could definitely like do that rainbow bird to a degree. What you'll have to understand is the final result might not look exactly like that bird. Like if you're really so focused on the exact details of the bird, like it has a certain amount of, I don't know, feathers, or what I'm getting at is basically the AI does like to hallucinate to a degree. So I can get it pretty close, but with some creative liberty. But just as that caveat aside, feel more than free to reach out to me in the DM and we can talk about it. But I can definitely animate logos like that. I've done others in the past, and usually it's pretty sick, the results. So just let me know. I know, L. Davis, I really want to. I tried reaching out to Sphere. They haven't responded, but I would love to work with them in any capacity. By the way, guys, check this out. This is sick. Look how cool that is. It's so abstract. Mary Beth, hello, how are you? God bless this morning. God bless you as well. Well, I post only videos like Instagram or make tutorial. If and when I get into the whole tutorial scene, it's probably going to be mostly over on YouTube, and or put behind some kind of payment wall on like a site like Skillshare or something. Again, I haven't really explored it. I would say if it's going to be anywhere though, as far as socials, YouTube would probably be the place to expect it. I'll certainly upload little like highlight clips here and there on Instagram, but like for full-length tutorials, YouTube is the most likely outcome. Software name and how to learn it. The software is called Comfy UI. Comfy User Interface. Just abbreviated. Comfy UI. And there's a lot of really good tutorials online as far as how to get started. I have been directing people over to my friend over here, Purz on YouTube, P-U-R-Z, and he does really solid educational work, walkthroughs and whatnot. It's how I got started with Comfy UI, and it's how a lot of other people did as well. He's within this community, he is known as like the master educator with Comfy and all that, so highly recommended. Ethereal artiste, thank you. Yes, epic is what I try to go for. Let's play a little more with this, shall we? I actually wasn't expecting this to look as cool as it does. I honestly wasn't. This is very alluring. I actually, dude, I think I'm gonna make a portrait version of this because I want to put it on my Instagram. So let's extend the height of that a little bit. Let's bump up the weight a touch on the control net because we want more of those bubbles bleeding through. Let's see what happens, you guys. You can basically set, so John Ayers, you can basically set the duration to your heart's content, but Comfy will very quickly start to complain and freeze up and frees up your computer even if you throw too much at it at once. If you throw too many like keyframes at it. So like right here where I'm setting the resolution, there's a third field for batch size. It's usually called like frame rate, but in this workflow it's just called batch size. This is the amount of frames basically. So 96 frames is what you're seeing here. The thing that would control the length of it at this point though would be the frame rate. So although I have created 96 frames in this generation, it is spread out across a 12 frame per second timeline. And the math there basically breaks down to an 8-second long video. And as you can probably assume, if you bump this up to 24 frames a second, this becomes a 4-second long video because it speeds up the speed of it. So there are little hacks you can get around if you want to draw it out to be a longer animation than normal. And one of those hacks would be to render out at a low frame rate, because the lower the frame rate, the longer the video will be. But then with this result, you can interpolate it and basically create those missing frames to make it like a 60 frame per second video, like you see down here. So this is the same video that was up there, 8 seconds long, but it's smoothed out. And that would be one of the hacks to get like because to render like an 8-second long video at 60 frames without the interpolation step, just think of it, that would be like 8 times 60, which is, I am horrible at math on the fly. I'm gonna do that right now. 60 times 10 is 600, but 60 times 8 is, 480. So you would be looking at rendering 480 frames without that interpolation step, which would be excessive for Comfy. That is definitely the tail end of what you want to put on it. So yeah. Look, somebody actually. Yes, I absolutely discuss commission work with people. Feel free to hit me up in the DMs. I'd love to talk about it. 3 Umar, thank you so much. I will keep going. The program, Dan, is called Comfy UI. Comfy UI. Spore Dropper, thank you. We're almost done here with this generation. And I can already tell it's going to be sick. I'm probably going to put this up on my Instagram in the coming days. I just like how weird it is, you guys. It's like very unusual, very unnatural and unnerving. Ooh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Look at that, you guys. See, the more alien, the better. The more unusual, the better. Full crunk. Amin, thank you so much. Appreciate it. So what I'm going to do here. So I've just created this, which I think is sick, and I'm going to upscale it real quick in that workflow you were looking at earlier. I'm going to... Yeah, it's going to be sick. Bees and wasps. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Bees and wasps close up. Let's try that. Great idea. Thank you. Gonna hop back over to Midjourney. Do close up of a bee. Realistic. And then I'm gonna do close up of a wasp afterwards. Close up of a wasp. Progress bar across the browser. I believe it's default. So if I hop back to the active workflow here, where would it be? Oh, it's complete. Let's kick off that that upscale. So yeah, when something is in motion and comfy, you've queued something up and it's moving along. Yes, this green bar along the top is representing the progress of whichever node is currently active in the render. It looks like right now, and okay, so now it's landed on the Ultimate Upscale node. This is basically the last node before it finishes, but as you can see, it has its own progress bar, but it mimics the progress bar at the very top. So like it's basically, it's kind of a nice visual aid if you're not like focused on this node, you're somewhere else in the workflow, but you still want to see progress. That would be along the top, so you'd get to see it there. I guess it's run locally, right? What kind of computer? Yeah, this particular approach is local. Comfy UI is typically installed in a local environment. You can also subscribe to cloud machines. There's certain websites that offer cloud installations of Comfy. One that I got started on before I built my computer is called, what is it called? I always forget. It's been so long. Something, oh, Think. So there's a few, but the one I like is called Think Diffusion, you guys. This is called Think Diffusion. And yeah, it's just basically you're renting a cloud machine for like an hour at a time. And it's got some pretty good specs, I think. I don't think it's as good as the computer I have now, but it's good enough to get started, to learn about, and to make some relatively high resolution stuff. But otherwise, yes, it is a local installation and can be quite hardware intensive. Reptiles would be cool. I love working with reptile stuff. Maybe I'll throw that in after. Where am I living? Franklin work. I live in Los Angeles. I'm out here in California. Something about ocean. Ooh, great idea. I do like the ocean theme. I'll write these down in the order I receive them. Reptiles, ocean. Maybe I'll even combine reptiles with the ocean, because why not? But just as a reminder, folks, I will... Oh, you know what? We're actually past the hour. I'm going to keep going, though. I'm going to keep going maybe until... Let's call it 3:15 p.m. 3:15. And then I got to log off, you guys. I got some stuff to do, but we'll keep it going till then. Actually, maybe I'll go till 3:20 because this upscaler is just going to take a little longer than I would want. So just be a little patient here. In the meantime, let's whip up some image options for our subsequent videos. Cool. So we got some cute bees here. Some cute wasps. And yes, I think they're cute. I don't feel bad about it. I think insects are freaking adorable. Greetings from Germany. Hello, nice to meet you. Greetings from the US. Nice. Let's put these in a folder. So photos, insects. So we'll save that there, save this here. So I'm just extracting 4 options for our insect animation that will transpire shortly. Let's do reptiles. Interesting reptiles. Close up. Scales. Dynamic. Movements. Sai and Paula, nice. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm happy that it's like doing its role, doing its part. I actually still have not tripped or done anything like that with my art or looking at my art or anything. Probably a missed opportunity, but you know, we'll see what the future holds. It's easier the web from Midjourney. Oh, are you saying the actual Midjourney website's easier to use than Discord? You're probably right about that, but I'm just so used to Discord at this point. Hang on one sec, there's some weird stuff going on. Just loud contract workers. All right. Did I save the stream on YouTube? No, I have not, but I have. It looks like I have been archiving the streams, at least Instagram has, for the past few days. So I'll certainly consider doing something with them. They're all going to be, you know, portrait mode, vertical, as you're seeing right now. But probably I'll consider putting them on my YouTube channel or something. I think that could be useful. Lots of the art is lock screen GIF. Nice, dude, that's awesome. I assume you must have like an Android or something. I don't think iPhone allows you to do moving wallpapers, at least not like that. If they do, please let me know, because I would love to make some of this my wallpaper too. But good stuff. Glad to hear it. Hey, thank you. I really appreciate that. LinkedIn, I believe it's just my name. If you just search for Bennett Waisburn, I want to say it's probably where to find me. Okay, yeah, so it is linkedin.com/n/B Waisburn, which stands for Bennett Waisburn. Or you can just search for Bennett Waisburn up at the bar right up here. Bennett Waisburn. And I should be your first result. In fact, I am. And it's a suggestion. If you can create video that starts from vast universe to planets to Earth and whole. I like the sequence, yeah. Yeah, that's sick. I love that a lot. Let me write that down. I don't know if I'll have time for that today, but I'll certainly write it down because I like where your head's at. I'm just gonna screenshot it for now. But yes, Psy Offline, if you just literally search the username of my Instagram, if you pop that into LinkedIn, you should find me. Galaxies to humans to amoeba. Absolutely, that's good too. And as you can see right here, we have upscaled my weird alien, and boy have we ever. This is crazy. It's so cool. Yeah, this upscaler is really a beast. It really is. Like, look, I don't know if it's coming through on the stream. It might not be, but it is for me. The detail that it has hallucinated, the extra little folds of skin and the textures, it's just so much more to look at. And this is something that Topaz just does not do. Not in my experience anyway, not from what I can tell. If it can, please let me know, because I would prefer to use Topaz for more. But yeah, this is a lot of fun stuff. So let's, while we still have the time, let us try and animate our insect friends. We have now saved to our machine. Let's paste these in, starting with you. And it's basically, these are keyframes, as I was mentioning earlier, and it goes from left to right as far as like the sequence. You can probably guess that though. For the duration of the video, starts at the left, ends at the right, and then loops back to the first one. One thing Comfy is very good at is looping videos. It's probably one of the things it's the very best at. It's making these really clean, awesome loops. So there's that, and finally we have that. Okay, I just need to wait for the interpolation to finish on our alien friend here. We'll get the insects going. Almost there. Should be almost there. Okay. Sweet. Looking good. And so as you can see, because I was mentioning earlier that the upscaler, one area that it struggles is with the blurry backgrounds. Sometimes it likes to overcompensate and overly sharpen the backgrounds when they shouldn't be. But this one, it actually did a great job at leaving the backgrounds blurry. And I think that's at least partially a result of the fact that I fed it a pretty low resolution video as opposed to an already higher resolution video. I think that plays a big role. But yeah, I really like what we have here. So let's get the insects going. Cue that up. Also, let's turn off our interpolation. We don't want to keep interpolating everything. All right, time for insects. I'm using a couple different upscalers. The one in Comfy that you're seeing right here is called the Ultimate SD Upscale. It's a standalone node. I happen to be using a workflow though that kind of lends itself to this node. Like, you can paste this node into any existing workflow and it should plug in and work pretty nice, but I'm actually using a workflow I found off Banadoko, which is a Discord server, and it seems to come with some extra bells and whistles like IP adapters and context options, which I assume further assists in the upscale process in some way that I'm not understanding. But I would probably assume that if you just paste this node into your workflow, you'll still get pretty good results. But if you want to find this actual workflow, I was looking for it earlier, I couldn't find it, but it should be somewhere over here on Banadoko. And if you just search around here for Ultimate SD Upscale, you should start to find it. Ultimate SD Upscale. I'm not going to dig around right now, but let me know if you have any other questions. Maybe we can look for it together. Way more complex than I thought. Yes, there's quite a bit that goes into these. Unfortunately, it is not one of those easy to learn, hard to master types of tools. Wish it were, but in a way I'm glad that it's not, because it empowers you. The more that you learn about it, the more powerful you become as an artist, and that can only help you in your career. All right, so as you can see already from the early stage generation, it's going to be kind of insane because I've left the settings as is. All I've changed here are the images. We've put in our bees and wasp images, but I've left the weights the same. I've left the motion mask the same as we had for the alien. So in a moment, you're about to find out what that translates to. I'll actually put the alien side by side right next to it so that you can kind of compare and contrast once it finishes. Spore dropper, nice. I love those. Those are great. Listen, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll jot some of these down, and hopefully you'll be on the next stream or a future stream, and I will take those ideas to heart. I'll play around with them, and I'll call you out for it once I start making them. But thank you. I'm just going to, well, I've screenshotted it, so I'll write it down later. But good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. The tool itself, well, the application is called Comfy UI. That's this whole like node-based interface that you're seeing. But the actual workflow itself, which allows me to morph between 4 images, it's based off of another. I've expanded it to kind of be my own thing at this point. But the core functionality, I'd say, you could find by going to Civitai and searching for somebody by the name of IPIV, IPIV. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's just IPIV. IPIV's morph. Type that in the top, just IPIV. The first result should be the one. You will find it's called IPIV's morph image to vid. And yeah, just go ahead and download this. It's very small. It's just a JSON file. And drag that into Comfy, and you should be good to go, minus the requisite models and things that are required. But this is the actual workflow. All right, what do we have here? Gnarly. That's really cool. That's very cool in my opinion. What do you guys think? Yeah? You are welcome, Cashflow, for sure. Yeah, this is sick. Like, you get the essence of those insects enough to where you can still kind of tell that they're, well, bees and wasps, but it's still, you know, it's also very abstract, and it's not obvious that they're insects, but obvious enough. And that's the fine line that I like to walk. Good stuff. Wesley, thank you. Yeah, I'll certainly check your page out. Thanks for dropping in. It's in Comfy UI for 8 months now. Oh, nice. Okay, so you have a 4090 as well, for sure. Welcome to the 4090 club. Yeah, I'd love to check out your work. I'll check it out. Is depth map control net? There is a depth map control net for sure. It's not the one I'm using at the moment. I'm using line art because lately I've been drawn to its results. But I do have a depth map control net, and it's called sd15_depth.pch. And I think if you Google that exactly, sd15_depth.pth, your first result here will be a Hugging Face link. You should be able to download it right here. Yes, just click download right here and you should be good to go. But yeah, there's a lot of different control nets for different use cases. If you want to like really target the movements and the poses of like a dancer, open pose would be a very good one for extracting, like making kind of like a, I don't know what the 3D modeling term is, like I don't know, the skeleton, the structure of the person. But yeah, it basically depends on what you want to be animating. So different control nets do different things. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm in California. I'm over here on the west coast of the US, just north of LA. And yeah, folks, I think we have a couple more minutes on the clock. You know what? I think we're going to make one more video here, and then I'm going to have to wrap it up. But the bee is very cool. I'm going to save it for later because I'd like to upskill that weird bee. I think I was working on reptiles. Yes, I was. Let's end the stream with some reptiles, shall we? I think this will be a good place to park it. I want to get one more image out of this batch because I want 4. Let's make a reptile folder. Save. And by the way, you guys, there's also workflows in scenarios where you can just animate one image. Like you don't have to do the 4-way morph thing that I'm doing. I just happen to be really interested in that particular workflow at the moment. But you can definitely get by with just using one image with the IP adapter. I have been using my works with clients. I've been having success with Video Wall. Nice, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I've been working a lot with musicians as well lately, some DJs, some other kinds of musicians. I've done a few music videos. Most of the time, I basically do these 4 to 10 second looping videos, which are my favorite things to make personally. And they can be used for socials and promos and things like that. But I interact with a lot of DJs on Instagram. They reach out to me and we work together, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, we have our 4th. I'm going to go with this one right here. Nice. Reptiles are so cool. So back over to our morph flow. Let's start morphing some reptiles. Oops. Reptile. Oh, there we are. Okay. And again, you guys, this will be the last one, but I have very much enjoyed having you today. This has been a lot of fun. Oh, different motion map on the B sample. Yes. Yes. For you, I will do that. That will be the last one, though. I'm going to do this reptile here, and I'm going to queue up your idea in another tab and just get that going. But, let's see. So we have the reptile rendering. That should take a couple minutes. And one thing about Comfy, and I understand why, it's just kind of a pity, is that you can't run more than one job at a time. That's why it gets queued up in a line. And I can understand why it would bring your computer to its knees pretty quickly. There might be an option to extend its functionality to where it can be run like that. If it is, somebody please tell me. That would be pretty cool. Okay, so for the B, I'm just going to kind of, I think, use one of my more standard video masks. One that kind of comes stock with this workflow, actually, if you download it from Civitai. So I'm going to plug that in, go over to QR Code Monster for the control net. That's also the default for this flow. And let's bring the motion mask down to 0.4, I think is subtle enough. Actually, 0.5 is probably a sweet spot. Let's just do that. And let's let it rep, you guys. So that's in the queue. Let's side by side it. Let's duplicate it over to the right. And in a few minutes here, you're going to see the result on the left. But in the meantime, let's head back over to our reptile. And yeah. James, hi, how are you? I'm not really delving too much into politics at the moment. But yeah, I appreciate the question anyhow. Dragons to lizards, it will be sick. Yes, it will. Lizards are always a really cool use case. Reptiles, that is. Very interesting to see what happens when these generate real-time, like stream diffusion. Nice, yeah. I can't imagine what it'll be like. I know, 10 years from now, even 5 years from now, it's just going to be like insanity. Just seeing the landscape of AI video and how quickly it's evolving, just on the closed sourced options like Runway and like Pika and Illuma and all these, like I can only imagine what that's going to look like when it hits the open source community. It's just going to be so much fun. Oh, you're from New Zealand? For sure. So kind of an outsider's perspective, huh? Well, I've always wanted to visit New Zealand, I'll tell you that much. I love New Zealand. All right, in about 15 seconds here, we're gonna see our lizard friend. And then we'll hop right over to our bumblebee. Yeah, Will Smith Spaghetti is the benchmark, isn't it? Maybe I should play with that idea in here. That would be kind of fun. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Fascinating. Very interesting. Yeah, that's very cool. In the future, I might lower the weight of the control net ever so slightly, just to let it dream up its own motion a little bit more and emphasize the images more. But overall, I mean, this still has potential. Very cool. And as you can see, we've kicked off the Bumblebee variant. We'll see that in a minute. Did I make the motion masks? Some of them, yes. Other ones I have kind of just found out in the wild. Like, you know, spending as much time as I do online, I'll find videos that look really interesting to me that I could maybe derive like a motion mask from or a depth map. And honestly, my videos come from all over the place. But I guess that's how I achieve so much variety on the page, honestly, is because like I'm always like seeing interesting motions that I would like to turn into depth maps and then paint over with Comfy. Kanye eating spaghetti. I don't think I've seen that one yet. Cheers, mate. Cheers to you as well. Thank you. Oh, I would love it. New Zealand. Right on. Yeah, I'll certainly try and visit it one of these days. What's next on my projects? Great question. I've got some client work lined up in my list of priorities, but as far as personal stuff, well, I'd say the latest thing that I'm really focused on are these short stories on YouTube. I've been uploading these like short 15-20 minute long like narrations of like creepy horror stories, creepypasta, and basically doing them along with my visuals. So like just as a little preview as we're rendering out on the other tab, I've been making stuff like this lately, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. Like, it starts out with like one of my intros that I made, and then kind of goes into the title of the story, and then yeah, I think this has a lot of potential. I'm having a lot of fun writing these horror stories and uploading them. But aside from that, just working on Instagram stuff and getting new ideas every day. The looping videos played a big role, I would say, but I would also say, I mean, there's so many factors that probably went into my channel's growth. It would be nigh impossible to like point my finger at one thing that really did it, but I will definitely say that my engagement with the app has been very heavy in recent months. I use it constantly. I interact with people constantly. I reach out to other creators a lot. Particularly in the beginning, I was reaching out to bigger creators and asking if I could like collab with them or just do anything with them as far as the Instagram stuff goes. And I would share a lot of people's work. I still do to this day. I share people's reels to my stories, call them out. I leave a lot of comments, just a lot of interaction, a lot of platform engagement, and telling that algorithm that you're like super duper locked in. But yes, I will also say that the looping videos probably played a very big role in that as well, making, you know, pretty captivating content. All right, guys, we're quite a bit over here, but I did want to indulge that Bumblebee idea, and as you can see, I'm glad that I did, because holy smokes, that is really cool. So the one on the right is the original one. One on the left here is using our other motion mask, the circles, a 0.5 weight, and that's really sick. I'm probably going to upscale that after this, to be honest with you. Hey Lola, how's it going? I'm actually just wrapping up here, but it's good to see you. Very cool work with softwares used. Comfy UI, my friend. Dennis, you are so welcome. Yeah, every day, Monday through Friday, I'm going to aim to be on here between... I'm aiming for like 12 noon Pacific. It might have to be around 1 or 2, though. I'm still kind of working out the schedule, but expect to see me around that time during the work week. From Portugal, very good work. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I'll certainly keep up the good work. Yeah, this would be sick at a Psytrance party. AI tool to suggest to create catchy video clips for the songs. Well, it depends what kind of videos you'd like to create. If you want to make stuff like you see here, Comfy UI, Stable Diffusion, Animate Diff would be your stack. If you want to make something a little more, I don't think mainstream is the word, but there's like these closed source websites like Runway and Pika and Luma, which will make you videos based on just a text prompt. They're a lot easier for the public to get into, as opposed to doing what I do. And I would recommend Runway. Runway Gen 3 is amazing. Some of the videos that it creates are sometimes indistinguishable from reality, to be honest with you. Very impressive stuff that I've been seeing on Runway here. Just as a really quick, I really got to wrap it up, guys. I keep getting distracted. I just love answering your questions. I love talking with you. But yeah, this would be like an example of Runway. So check that one out. Yeah, I'll be on later though. Well, probably tomorrow, but Luma has improved. They've been adding some pretty interesting new features. They have a looping feature now, which seems pretty fun. I'm going to play with that a little bit more. Because looping is obviously a really big deal on Instagram and social media. So it's great that they've added that in. How did I make these videos? Comfy UI, my friend, Comfy UI. And with that, folks, I am going to be wrapping it up. But thank you so much for joining me today. As always, it's been a lot of fun, and I'll speak with you later. All right, peace, guys.